Hello and welcome back to another episode of Heavy Crow Movie Show. I'm Steve,
And I'm Brian.
and this is Superman for the Quest for Peace. I think we saw a movie.
Well, yes, we just finished it, and we're actually looking at the credits because I thought I saw a Bill Clinton credit, and I was so confused for a second, so I had to fast forward through the whole movie again.
Uh-huh.
No, it's just some guy.
Yeah,
But
it's a lot of guys named Bill out there, buddy.
so
In fact, a lot of guys named Bill Clinton out there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Steve, you've seen the first two Superman movies.
I believe so.
Was Zod in one of them,
Yes.
and you saw the first two.
Yeah, I saw Zod. So the first two I've seen, and then I was like, I'll save the 3 and 4 for later, not knowing that they were bad. And there's like more than 4.
Nope, it's just those four.
I feel like there's like 7 of them.
Nope, there was going to be, but
Yeah, okay,
certain
yeah.
accidents happen.
All right. So how do we start this episode?
This movie sucked.
Let's go into a little bit of history of Superman and all that. Okay, so
Well, do
uh,
we need to though? I mean, I'm pretty sure if people are
sure.
watching
So yeah. All right, so we saw Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, the fourth and final installment of the...
this, Christopher Reeves Superman.
Thank you. And so not only was this the last one because the studio that made this one, Canon Films, went bankrupt after this. Christopher Reeve was sometime after this one involved in an accident that unfortunately left him crippled and paralyzed for the rest of his life.
It happened in 1994.
Yes. So they had plans for maybe making a fifth or so, and then
They did have plans for a fifth one. I'll go into that.
they decided against that and decided to just redo it years later with
Brandon
Superman
Routh.
with Superman Returns, which is technically the fifth one in the series.
It's actually technically the third one.
Oh, they're
So-
scrapping the Quest for Peace.
Apparently, the way that the timeline works, Superman Returns, is that it's supposed to be, if not the same events, similar events of the first two Superman movies.
Yeah.
And then ignore Superman 3 and 4,
Yeah, that's fine.
which you're not missing anything.
So, quickly, so for if you've been living under a rock for the last 100 some years, Superman is a DC Comics superhero, one of the very first superhero comics to ever be made. It is about a man named Kal-El from the planet Krypton, as the planet Krypton is destroyed by either a meteorite, moon crashing, or just global warming.
I think it was just like the planet's core.
Yeah.
It's just like
It
just
changes variously. Anyways,
Sometimes Brainiac destroys it.
yeah, the planet is destroyed, and the only survivor, and unless you count all the other ones that survive, is
Kara
the
and Kandor.
the son of
Jor-El and Lar-El.
yeah, Kal-El is sent to Earth to live among the humans and become the great superhero Superman, donning the identity of his human counterparts, Clark Kent, raised by
Jonathan and Martha.
Yeah. Ma Pa Kent in
Smallville.
Kentucky?
Kansas, man.
Kansas,
Damn, you don't know anything. Let me do this.
Yeah.
All right, so he's raised in Smallville, Kansas, completely initially unaware of his alien origin until as he gets older, his powers develop, and his parents are like, well, we should probably tell you the truth. He does discover a Kryptonian installation over the years that was left behind at some point by Jor-El, called the Fortress of Solitude. This is where he develops his powers more, he hones them, and reinvents himself into the superhero Superman. So you get the idea from there. He battles bad guys like Lex Luthor, Bizarro, Mr. Mxyzptlk.
Yeah.
That's how you pronounce that name.
Yeah, Mr. Mxyzptlk.
Mxyzptlk, yep.
Yeah. It's a bunch of just Polish letters crammed together. So that's the very short-handed one. And of course, eventually we'll go deep into that when we actually do a Superman one.
Deep dive and all that. We go into the production history of the original Superman movie, the show, and various stuff.
So the thing about is, and then, so this was originally, the first 3 were made by...
I forget their first. I think it's Alexander and Leah Salkind. They were brothers who had production rights. It wasn't actually Warner Bros. Warner Bros. Didn't acquire DC films until I think the 80s.
Yeah, so this was
after Cannon's debacle.
Published by Warner Brothers, right?
No,
Universal.
I think it was Universal. Yeah, I can't really remember. I'm pretty sure
this was a Universal thing.
Who did it originally? But the Salkinds ran it for about 3 movies, and then the third movie was so bad that Christopher Reeves actually dipped out.
And then Cannon bought it for dirt cheap, and this destroyed them after they made it. So a little back history of Cannon is Cannon Films is a notorious production company back in the day. They would just produce or distribute thousands of low-budget films in order to try and make a profit off of them. So
we've already actually done a Cannon movie.
We've done a few, I'm sure, and we're going to continue doing many. Every YouTuber that talks about movies
has done Cannon.
Whether
Media, Doug Walker.
Yeah, it's Cannon. Everybody's just if it was like a shitty movie from the 80s, it was probably a Cannon film.
For us, we did, when during our Texas Chainsaw Massacre deep dive, we did Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which was a Cannon production.
Yeah.
Around the same time as this, actually.
So Cannon was these guys that they would get like a Chuck Norris project. They would just get some nobodies.
Michael Dudikoff.
Walk them into like the woods behind the back lot of like Kentucky or whatever. Have them film like an army movie there, and then try and get this into every mom and pop video store to make a quick buck.
There were some instances where some of them went to theater. I think the first Invasion USA and Death Wish 2.
Yeah, I mean, they did a lot of higher budget, more classic
movies that they gave a crap about.
Like, there's a lot of movies out there that are like guilty pleasures, bad movie nights, some generally good movies, and some like ones where it's like, well, you gotta watch it because it's like Death Wish or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they decided that they were gonna try and get more into
the superhero
stuff. So they got the rights to Superman and Spider-Man.
Yes, they got the rights to Superman first.
Yeah.
And then they got rights to the Amazing Spider-Man because Marvel was starting to lose money. They also got rights to a third character.
Mm-hmm.
This was the other movie that destroyed them. It came out in the same year, Masters of the Universe.
Right. So
the He-Man movie.
That technically isn't a Marvel or DC. That is a Hasbro Toys, I believe. Mattel, yes.
It's Mattel.
It's Mattel. So they were trying to popularize on the most popular movie.
Which is hilarious because He-Man at that point had kind of died down.
No,
by that point, yeah.
It wasn't
he died popular. He died in like the mid-'80s.
It wasn't that... It was still fairly popular. I mean, my uncle, who's 20-something years older than me, that was his favorite movie growing up.
Really?
Yeah. So yeah, that He-Man it's still popular now.
Oh yeah. There'll always be popularity with He-Man.
It was a flop financially. Same with 4. And just the
Spider-Man
idea
never happened.
Of making Spider-Man like ruined them financially. So they died in the late
80s,
early 90s ish. So
I think like safely say probably around like 93 they died.
Yeah. So this was basically the swan song of both Superman and Cannon Films for, oh boy.
There wouldn't be, so they were going to do a Superman 5. It was going to be called The Death of Superman. It was originally going to be like based off the death of Superman. Before that actually happened, they were going to kill him. And he was going to come back in the ball city of Kandor. And they were going to tie it into the movie that one day we will see, Supergirl.
Yeah, Supergirl did come out afterwards. It came out canon.
It came out before 4, but after 3.
Yeah, and that was also
terrible. And plan for them?
Yeah.
She wasn't his cousin.
No.
I'll tell you that much.
Well, so the thing is that Supergirl so the thing is with Supergirl and Superman is that even if they are cousins, It is such an old franchise that it was back when it was okay to date your cousin. So sometimes they were in relationships.
Now it's not like that
No,
anymore. Thank
they
God.
they have healthy relationships.
It's almost like a brother and sister
I
type
mean,
relationship.
sometimes there might be some weird incestuous clone
No,
plot or something, but
not
comic
even
books.
really. That hasn't been around for like almost 30 years.
Yeah, but every now and then something like that will pop up. But it's mostly okay now.
On DeviantArt.
Well, that's DeviantArt, baby. That's where the freak flag flies, baby. So that's a short, tiny.
Glimpse into a very complex
Yeah,
situation
we'll
with
go
Superman's movies.
way more into that later.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to you today about the fourth and final of the Christopher Reeves movies.
God rest his soul.
We actually filmed our reactions because this was our first time ever watching this movie.
From beginning to end. I had seen parts of it. You've seen parts of it. I've never seen it from the very beginning to the very end.
Yeah, I've seen like clips of like him fighting Radioactive Man
or whatever the fuck it was called.
I call him Radioactive Man even though he's like
nuclear
man.
But he's got the powers of the sun.
Well, they are correct. Yes, the sun is like a giant nuclear reactor.
Now, throwing him into a nuclear reactor should only make him more powerful because he came from a nuclear bomb.
Yeah. So, all right. This movie starts off with him
taking over the world. With Superman literally just deciding, I rule the world now.
No. Okay. No. Let's be fair. So, the movie starts off with the Daily Planet being bought out by some hostile corporate takeover guy, Warfield. Because the entire movie is a very poorly made excuse to be an anti-war movie based off of the nuclear scare
arms race of the 1980s.
Yeah, so this was an attempt to quell the Cold War in a way, in which
I mean, I get. So Christopher Reeves wrote that part of the movie.
Yeah, and it does make sense. And Superman has always actually been an anti-war,
he's not
anti-Cold War character for the last couple decades.
Superman's whole shtick was that he is a guy who literally just wants the world to be a better place.
Yes,
that's all he wants. He doesn't want Krypton to happen again.
Yeah.
That's really kind of been his whole beat. And now in this, he's like, well, here's what I'm going to do. Because a kid writes a letter to him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So a kid supposedly writes a letter to him. And then someone says that he replied, drop dead kid. And he's like,
get lost, kid.
No.
Clark's like, what?
No, so he meets up with this kid and goes, all right, you want me to make a difference? Fine. And he walks into the UN, and the UN just is like, all right, cool.
Because like, what are you going to do?
And he goes, I want peace. My planet got destroyed, so let's get rid of all the nukes. And they go, all right.
It was like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Like, again, this is him just officially declaring that he rules the world.
Basically, everyone's like, wow, everyone's just so cool. No one's fighting him. It's like it's Superman. He's like basically
God.
I'm a great guy. Also, if you say no, I can just destroy this planet.
Like nothing, because we've seen him in 2 movies have bizarre powers.
Yeah,
like this turning time.
This is the ultimate. Superman can pull out
anything out of his ass.
Yeah. This is from the Golden Age Superman.
Not even that. It was really more like Silver Age.
It's a Silver and Golden Age Superman where he just pulled powers out of his ass whenever convenient. He still does it occasionally,
not
but
really, not anymore.
It's
no,
more.
They keep him at a relative power set. There's like a rule as to like what he has.
His strength level fluctuates. Depending on
that's where it gets a little bit like debatable as to like how strong he is.
I mean, because like it's either he can only lift a truck or he can literally bench press the weight of 2,000 Earths and not break a sweat.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It fluctuates. So the first hour of this movie
This is an hour and 34-minute movie.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
And for the first hour, not much is going. It's actually not bad for the first hour.
I mean, like, yeah, like if you, it's trying to give Clark like relationship issues where it's like he's got a thing with Lois, and then there's this woman Lacey who's the daughter of
Warfield.
the Warfield guy, who's like smitten with him for some reason.
Yeah, well, because he's like a cute nerd boy.
Yeah, and he's trying to like not really get involved with either of them. I guess he's trying not to.
He's both like, it's both like Three's Company type thing. So back at the so Brian, you're slightly younger than me, so
Well, you are a 48-year-old man.
yes, I am a. We just keep changing my age. Eventually,
You're 52.
yes, exactly.
You're 4.
So
You're as old as this movie.
I am a being of indeterminate age.
That's okay. I'm 82.
Yeah, that's fine.
look
So
great for my age.
back in the 80s, the protagonist must be going on a date with 2 women on the same night.
They even did this in like horror films like Friday the 13th.
Oh, yeah. It was a very funny gag that everyone had to try their hands at. So he gets like a date with Lois and Lacey
as Superman and as Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Because Lacey seems to be more interested in Clark as a person than Lois.
Yeah. Yeah, so Lois Lane seems to be smitten with Superman, and Lacey seems to be liking Clark, which I get that.
I mean, like, it seems like Lacey's like, oh, okay, yeah, Superman's cool, I guess, but like
She
Clark's...
likes a man that can't be bought.
Yeah, like she actually seems to like genuinely like Clark,
and he changes her as a person with his can-do attitude, and of course he's dealing with the farm being sold
and Lex
breaking out of jail with John Cryer's help.
Yeah, John Cryer from 2.5 Men.
Yeah,
remember that show, kids?
No,
no one does. No, it's okay if you don't. So it basically was about a sexist and a lunatic living together, and they were brothers.
No, it was about a sad, pathetic man with a son moving in with Charlie Sheen, pretending to not be insane, and his life going to hell because God personally hates John Cryer's character. I think it comes up a lot that like God personally hates him.
Yeah. Like for whatever reason, God as a plot device just despises John Cryer.
Yeah.
There's nothing against John Cryer. He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, but like his character, like God personally hates.
It's great. It's a great supervillain.
He tries to be like a decent guy, but like
gets screwed over time and time.
He's still kind of like a piece of shit because
he's a lying, cheating sneak.
Not really, but also yes.
He doesn't mean to be.
It's just like, again, God hates him, and this is a dark universe he lives in.
Yeah. So back to Superman 4.
So Superman in this movie decides I'm gonna get rid of all the nukes, and we're jumping around because who gives a shit about the first hour?
There really isn't anything to go over.
It's just yeah. This is like a nothing burger of a movie. So Superman decides, all right, everyone launch your nukes one at a time, and I'll catch them, and I'll put them in a giant fisherman's net.
Yeah. You were blown away. I was just shocked.
This net has got to be several miles large.
It has to be as big as the planet.
Yeah. Because he's just got like 10 million nukes in this.
Which somehow they haven't exploded.
Yeah. Okay. And he swings them like there's gravity and hurls them into the sun. And then Lex Luthor, who has hair in all these movies, by the way, because
Gene Hackman was too much of a diva to shave his head.
Yeah.
Well, okay. At the end of the original Superman, he apparently did shave his head. Like he takes off his hair, like his wig.
Yeah.
And he's bald. And it's like, okay, cool. That's the only time the original Lex Luthor is bald.
I think they bald capped him for that bit.
I think so too. He wouldn't even wear a bald cap apparently.
Maybe he was like, "Listen, I need my hair because I'm got to be in like other real movies later."
Yeah, because you folks gotta remember, like back then, these movies weren't seen like how they are today.
Then a lot of them were working actors still, where like they were in like 4 or 5 movies a
At a
month.
time.
Yeah. So all right, he gets all the nukes. He yeets them into the sun, just using the one explosion gif
Effect.
that they have.
Yeah. You'll see this effect if you watch the movie. You'll see it like I think like 4 times.
Yeah. He saves Lois from a subway train gone wrong because the Amtrak employee just dropped over dead.
Did we say how?
He has a heart attack apparently.
No. How Superman stops it?
Oh yeah, he just steps on the 3rd rail, gets himself electrocuted, and the thing just goes, all right, I stopped.
Here's what I think happened. You see, folks, Superman normally has powers of heat vision, freeze breath, super speed, strength, flight. Cool. Okay, standard power set.
Yep.
Now he has psychic powers.
Yeah, he
has the Force.
He does have several moments where he straight up has psychic abilities. Again, he's pulling powers out of his ass every 5 minutes.
So,
He steps on the 3rd rail, takes all the juice, and then the train just stops. And then there's just so happens to be firemen and paramedics just waiting right there. Immediately. This has been a problem of the train moving for about all of 5 seconds.
Yeah, really. The train, like, as far as we know, it started to occur, like, in 5 minutes. And then Superman just shows up, which I don't understand why he couldn't literally just stop the train.
He does just stop the
train.
No,
I mean, like physically stop it.
I think that it was implied that that's what happened, but, like, he just intimidates the train into, like, stopping. Like,
he gives it the stink eye.
Yeah, I assume what it is that when he steps on the 3rd rail, he just absorbs all the electricity, and so it stops.
It wouldn't stop. Like it comes to like a sudden like stop. Like if you
like
look
a
up the
sudden
clip,
gentle stop. Like,
yeah,
it's car
wild.
rolling in neutral to like a gentle slope.
It's really weird. And then speaking of Lois,
yeah,
I did some research as to why Margot Kidder seems so bizarre in the movie. She and Chris did not get along in the movie.
Really?
So I did some research on this movie. Just real quick, nothing crazy. So Christopher Reeves wrote this movie. He wrote the story, right? The initial story of like stopping nuclear arms and all that. This was part 2 of his deal. Part 1 was they financed another movie he was doing called, I don't know, I forget.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
I
hate saying that, but Christopher Reeves is most famously remembered as Superman.
He was in other stuff.
He was a fantastic actor, but let's be real. He had a big ego on set.
Oh, I bet.
He thought he was the hottest shit, and then it turns out he realizes he's in a crappy canon movie. And apparently, according to Mark Pillow, who plays the villain Nuclear Man, who we'll get into soon, Chris Reeves was like super intense. Gene Hackman, super cool. Gene's having a fun time.
Gene Hackman, I think, was drunk half this movie.
He seems like he's having a delight.
He seemed to be just having a ball.
He's like, whatever, man. It's a paycheck. It's whatever.
He's really playing the gay villain archetype right now.
It's not even that he's gay. It's just like he's just playing like this very blah villain.
Back then, they were all queer coded back then.
I guess I'm not picking that up at all. But,
yeah.
Lex. I mean, Lex has this nephew who we mentioned, John Cryer, who I think was just coming off Pretty in Pink. I want to say Pretty Off Pink. That's not right. No, Pretty in Pink.
Yeah.
Which came out in like what, 85, 86?
Yeah. So
that's a John Hughes flick.
That was like probably what helped launch his career because it launched all of their careers really in Pretty in Pink. Weird that I don't remember him as being like a not John Landis,
John Hughes.
Staple.
I think he was only in that one movie. I don't think he was in like
he's been in a couple movies around that time.
I mean, but regardless, John Cryer, he's had kind of like a resurgence in Superman, in the Superman property as Lex Luthor. Ironically enough, he played Lex Luthor in the CW show Supergirl and the Crisis of Infinite Earths crossover, where he really got to shine
Yeah.
as an actor, I think. And he in this movie, he does not care.
Yeah. No, he's just like. So, to describe this movie best,
Yeah, this movie's hard to really describe.
Christopher Reeve is playing Superman, like it's a Superman movie.
Margot Kidder could care less.
Margot Kidder is playing a domesticated housewife version of Lois,
Which is bizarre to see.
Which, I guess she doesn't. Whatever. She wasn't written very well in this one, so she's like, whatever. I don't care.
She wasn't even really in the third one either.
Most of the people, like the extras and all that, they're also acting like they're in a Superman movie that's being taken seriously. Gene Hackman and
John
Cryer, thank you. Names are escaping me today. They're fully aware this is a canon production.
Oh, they are in on it. Like Christopher Reeve is taking it so seriously at first, and then you notice a shift in his performance. He seems kind of like weirdly angry, like he doesn't want to be there.
Oh yeah, he's like way more pissed off in all of his scenes.
Here's why: him and the director were at odds too. Mm-hmm. Now, bear in mind, Christopher Reeve, his career launched as Superman, the original Superman movie. He had a lot of like, I don't want to say ego in a bad way, but he's the star of the movie.
He felt like he should have been more respected, and it should have been a higher plateau because it was like the final.
Well, they didn't think it was gonna be the final Superman.
I think he was just pissed off because it's like I'm supposed to be like in these big names, and I'm still in these fucking Superman movies, and it's like shittier now because it's canon.
Yeah, whereas the last movie, from what I understand, it's more of a Richard Pryor vehicle than it is. Yeah, Richard Pryor was in Superman.
Well, Richard Pryor like exploded
in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, him and Gene Wilder.
Wilder,
yeah. They were like in 4 movies together.
Yeah, a bunch. They were the John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell of like their time, but
Yes, that's fairly accurate. Yeah,
yeah. Both very talented guys.
Yeah. That'd be it, and that's. But unlike them, they weren't friends outside of the movies.
Yeah, you get the sense that Will and John are really tight.
Yeah. I feel like they'd actually hang out together. Just I don't know, fishing.
Why not? I mean, I don't know. For all we know, they hate each other. I have no idea.
Yeah. I know. But he's pissed off in this.
He hates the director.
Cryer is like, he's acting like he's in an episode of Power Rangers more than
Before
anything.
Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Like Cryer, I don't know. I can't find any. Again, I did a quick research. I didn't really do a deep dive.
I'm sure he said like that was like a fun weekend type thing.
Christopher Reeve saw it as a career blow. He thought it hurt his career more than anything else, and it probably did.
No, he would have bounced back from that.
If he never had the accident, I think he would have been okay.
If he never had the accident, he would have been absolutely fine career-wise.
He would have had bounced back in the 90s.
He would have like went from being leading man to like serious side role.
And then back to leading again.
He would probably like morph into like a Gary Oldman type.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah.
Because here's another thing that they were going to do. I've always heard about for years. Mm-hmm. And I think DC kind of confirmed it recently. Mm-hmm. So the Michael Keaton Batman movies, kind of shared a universe for a long time with the Joel Schumacher films, which we went over those. Mm-hmm. Superman gets mentioned twice in those movies, not in the Michael Keaton movies, but in the Schumacher films. Mm-hmm. It always makes you wonder what Superman exists. Mm-hmm. DC recently acknowledged, as of recording, that the Christopher Reeve Superman exists in the same world as the Michael Keaton Batman.
Yes.
Which there was always rumors that they were going to do a Michael Keaton and Christopher Reeve vehicle before Reeve had his accident.
Yeah, so that was probably the plan, and he probably would have been okay, fine.
Yeah, he's like, whatever. Batman's the biggest movie of '89, so yeah. Warner Bros., I think, would have treated him differently.
they would have treated him with like the respect because they were finally like kind of real. Warner Brothers in the 90s,
We're one of the hottest shit out
it
there.
was the golden era, like 89 to 2002, I want to say.
Even with the Nolan films, they were doing pretty good.
Yeah, Warner Brother was at its peak of knowing what it was doing, and then in recent years,
It's just gone insane.
I don't know what's going on, man. You guys got to get your stuff together. You guys have lost it. Ever since like Kids WB went away, it's like literally like pinpoint Kids WB went away, and then it's like game over for them. It's like they're just they're not.
Yeah, I mean, there's just nothing that really of major note happens in this movie.
So yeah, I mean, so he stops the nukes,
eats them into the sun, which makes me
John
wonder.
Cryer has this remote controlled pimped out like convertible.
How Lex escapes prison this time.
He just rolls up to like this quarry that the prisoners are digging, which
they're still in striped suits.
How is he not getting shot on like
on site? This is 1987. We have like Ted Bundy at this point.
Yeah,
you know?
He should be shot on sight for getting into like a prison work camp, and it's prison work camp.
And I don't understand why they're not wearing orange jumpsuits at that point.
Because it's a cartoon.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. It always bothers me like whenever I see movies in the 80s.
If it's cartoonish, they're wearing the old timey stripes,
black and white stripes.
If it's a serious drama, it's orange or brown because it's realistic,
or blue in recent years.
It's whatever
whatever the standard prison uniform is.
For days. It comes in multiple of colors. Mostly it's
like a rainbow.
It's orange, brown, and blue.
Yeah, it's a rainbow shit.
Yeah, orange if they're outside, blue for inside, brown if they're like, I don't know, visiting or whatever. It's it's whatever. They're color coded. Anyways, so yeah, Superman gets rid of the nukes. And then he's hanging out and he's dealing with like the fact that the paper's like becoming Fox News and like a tabloid BuzzFeed article.
Yeah, before it's getting kind of interesting because this was like the era of like news organizations were now becoming like big.
24-hour news cycles were coming around, so they're warning you about propaganda and right-wing media, the Cold War era, nuclear annihilation, global warming, the dangers of nuclear power, and the pros of nuclear power too, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, not all nuclear weapons are bad.
Like this movie is really like, hey, remember all the shitty parts of the 80s that you're talking about now? Well, we knew all about it back then too.
And also, this movie's written by a child.
No, it's
It's literally like, I don't like nuclear weapons. It's scary on the news. So Superman flies and takes them away, which creates so many. I read a thing years ago that said that the political science of Superman stopping nukes like
would
this
have actually caused
more problems.
So nukes are
scary.
It's hard to justify this because, okay, so nukes are endgame. If we do mad, it's mad. It's game the fuck over. We are not coming back as a species, period.
Yeah. That's why nobody ever launches them.
Yeah, that's why like we launched them at Japan and nothing since.
Yeah, everyone's like, "Oh,
yeah, like this is like game over." Yeah, society maybe will bounce back from the critical period, but it will never be the same.
If only there was a video game series that's now turning into an Amazon TV series about this very subject.
Yeah, there's been like 10 of those, at least.
Really? What are they called?
Look them up, people. Google them. I'm not your dad.
Fallout.
Yeah, it's Fallout and a bunch of other stuff. Yeah,
Fallout. All kinds of.
Oh, games. Fallout. You fucking pick a thing. Nukes are bad. It's fine.
Was it nukes in Last of Us?
No,
it was a disease.
No, it was a zombie apocalypse, but it's all allegories.
Same difference
for global. We all need to be working together. Whatever. Anyways, the thing is, okay, nukes bad, but no nukes also could be bad. But
yeah,
not
countries
world ending. Yeah, but still, it'd be no stopping.
And also, what's stopping another country from just making more?
Nothing other than Superman will smack the shit out of you.
Superman just goes into like
Superman's
Iran.
the deterrent. Like, yeah, like
Superman just goes into like Iran, just like suplexes like their leader, and is like, "I said no more damn nukes," and flies away.
Yeah, like he just walks into like on the general's office and just like zaps their head off. Like, I told you, like, no more nukes.
You think I was playing around? I was having breakfast when I learned this. I was upset.
Like, it takes me 5 seconds to get to your ass. You can't hide from me.
I hear everything and can see all.
Yeah,
I am God, people. Please understand this.
Yeah. So yeah, he gets rid of the nukes because the boy wrote, I guess,
so a classroom is all scared and.
Which, I mean, remember, we were still doing nuclear test drills back then. I know. So this movie does have a lot of good points. It's just
does it poorly. Yeah, it does it kind of poorly.
It's not that it does it poorly. It's the pacing's terrible.
Because it was a 2.5 hour movie cut down to 90 minutes.
Yeah, and
honestly, I feel like if they went with the original idea, they saved some money a little bit, but with the budget effects, fine, I get it.
Yeah.
The original villain was not going to be Nuclear Man. Oh yeah, real quick, Lex goes to Superman Museum, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's a museum. He's got like a piece of hair
that he donated.
That's showing that a single thing of Superman's hair can like lift 1,000 pounds.
And he cuts it with Home Depot branded bolt cutters.
Yeah, he gets some bolt cutters, smashes the glass like a 2-bit like hood. Bolt cuts the piece of hair out and goes, "Look, with this, I can make a clone of Superman that's evil." And
but wait a minute, like, how did you cut it though?
Yeah, shouldn't it be like really hard to do that?
Shouldn't it break your $20 bolt cutters?
Oh, $20 ones. You went cheapo with it, huh? No, those are like probably like $80 bolt cutters.
Even still, it's going. They're the same thing.
Yeah, it's just.
I know.
Makes a clone because John Cryer is apparently like a super genius.
Apparently, I don't know what his story. He's Lex's nephew.
He just seems like to be just a kid that's just hanging out with him.
Wait a minute, then who's Lex's sibling?
We don't talk about them.
I want answers.
He's probably got like a sister that he doesn't talk to very much.
She's like got like a vacation home in Florida, and she's just like Alexa's an embarrassment to the family.
Yeah.
She's like, oh God, why does he keep doing this crap? He's rich. Why does he keep doing this?
Why does he keep trying to buy Twitter?
Stop, Lex. Why does he buy Amazon?
No, not the Rainforest Jackass Company. Terrible with your money.
Let me tell you this, Lenny. I'm gonna buy a company. This is how Lex talks in the movie. Buy a company. Okay, Uncle Luthor, what's up? You know, I'm just gonna shoot you.
Yeah. John Cryer's talking like a Muppet.
It's like time. It's weird. Like John Cryer's character acts like he's 17, but yet John Cryer is clearly like 28.
No, I would say like he's clearly like 20.
He's acting like he's 12.
And he's acting like 6. He's acting like he's a 19-year-old weirdo, but he's like
38.
No, he looks like he's no.
I'm doing the Chris O'Donnell bit.
Yeah. He looks a little older than what he's acting, but again, it's because this was like made in the 80s and like so
nobody cared.
No, so we have this thing now where like people from if you take a picture of somebody from like 20 years ago, you'd probably add 10 years to them because people just look older now.
Yeah.
And people now look younger. It's weird. I don't know. Something's in the water, keeping us all youthful. So yeah, like he's going through this. He's dealing with the Daily Planet. He's dealing with the farm getting sold to like a big corporation. It's a very liberal. Hey, nukes are bad. Nuclear energy might be okay. Corporations suck ass. And bad, and everything should be kept integrity. Journalistic integrity is important. Stop with the propaganda and all that bullshit.
Right.
Yeah, it's got good themes.
So then comes Lex taking the hair, putting it into like some weird like chicken grease or something.
Oh yeah, it looks like a condom full of like chicken guts.
And then he's like, I'm going to use this, Lenny, to make a clone of Superman and me somehow.
Yeah, like he fuses his and Lex, and that's fine because that's how Connor gets made, and
Well, yes, but
it's been
smarter.
It
has like a weird idea. So like this movie has a unique idea of Lex cloning Superman, which is not a terrible idea
because
that's been done.
They do it better in other stuff. That's usually how like Superboy gets made.
Yeah, like Superboy exists because Lex cloned Superman.
Yeah.
Which okay, fine, cool. Okay. The original Nuclear Man was cut from this movie. It's not Mark Pillow. There's a whole other subplot.
Oh.
That's why. So I was kind of sitting on this and waiting to tell you. So now it's my turn.
Okay.
All right. Bizarro is in this movie.
Interesting.
Bizarro. So for those of you who don't know, real quick, Bizarro is normally from another dimension where everything's reversed. So instead of him saying, I like something, something is bad, which means he likes it. In recent years, Bizarro is like an anti-Superman. Like, for example, Superman Lois, he comes from another dimension where Superman was kind of an asshole and he got addicted to kryptonite and it made him into like a monster.
Yeah, he's so generally he is a gray zombie-like Superman.
Yeah.
Kind of like
he's got like a purple and red suit, a tattered cape, everything's backwards.
Yeah.
Like his S is upside down or usually like reversed.
Yeah.
There's a Bizarro Batman too.
And he's just kind of like
idiot.
This fun-loving idiot.
He's an idiot. He has like terrible gadgets. His belt's upside down, so all of his shit always falls out. His mask has no eyes in it, so he can't really see because he's a moron.
Cool. That's funny.
It's really funny. Bizarro Batman's hilarious.
Like
Bat-Zorro is what it's called.
Yeah. Bizarro Superman. He breathes fire instead of ice.
Yeah. So he has cold vision and heat breath. He can still fly. Which, whatever, I guess.
Instead of like just swim. Boy, what the fuck else? He's got to be able to fly. They're like,
yeah, it's fine.
He's got to be
fine.
Yeah, but he's doing it like through Australia's gravity, so it's fucking.
Yeah. So we might have to go to Australia.
Yeah.
Me and Bizarro have to go to Australia.
What?
And he just flies to Australia. He goes to Australia and it works.
I don't know. Bizarro's changed because sometimes it's Solomon Grundy turned into.
No.
Sometimes Bizarro is Solomon Grundy Supermanized. Yeah.
Not really, no. I think you have it mixed up. Solomon Grundy's never been...
I swear Solomon Grundy has been turned into... it was like a Super Friends thing.
Maybe in Super Friends, but Solomon Grundy has never... No, because Bizarro was in Super Friends.
I swear I'm right on this, where like Solomon Grundy got turned into like Bizarro's Superman somehow.
Not as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I mean, well, I'll do research later and I'll prove that I'm right.
I'm sure I'm wrong, but like it feels like it's a right.
If you know
thing.
if one of us is right or wrong, let us know by.
I feel like because like I always thought like why is Solomon Grundy all of a sudden Bizarro Superman? That's
maybe you saw them in the same scene and like, it was cut weird and your brain's misremembering.
Yeah, probably
because they were both in Super Friends.
I probably just remember a plot line wrong or something. And I'm like,
anyway,
that's weird.
So Bizarro was as far as I'm aware was actually played by Christopher Reeves as well.
Yeah,
because he's reverse Superman. And then they realized that the effects weren't really great on him.
Oh no!
And the makeup, there's footage of Bizarro. There's pictures of Bizarro. There's footage. I'll show Steve later, so maybe we can show the audience what he looked like. He doesn't look as bad as you'd think. And this wasn't the Superman film's first attempt at Bizarro either. There's an evil Superman, Superman 3, from what I understand, as well.
Okay.
No. It's an existential crisis. Yeah, imagine that. Richard Pryor, as an evil Superman. No, it's like Clark having an existential crisis, so it's like an evil Superman, and then Clark fights evil Superman.
Oh, it's like a metaphorical thing.
Yeah, it's like a metaphorical thing. But anyway. But Superman fights Bizarro, which is still Nuclear Man, and Lex is like, all right, I'm going to try again. And, that's when he launches the nuke with the hair and all that. And that's how we get Mark Pillow's character, who is voiced by Gene Hackman, who is called Nuclear Man. But as far as I'm aware, Bizarro is only Bizarro in appearance. Mm-hmm. He's not actually called Bizarro.
And they just cut all of this.
They cut that whole thing out.
I guess because it was like there's already...
It just wasn't working.
Yeah.
Or they ran out of money.
Nuclear Man is this golden guy who's basically a solar powered like Superman, basically.
Which is hilarious because Superman is powered by the sun.
Yeah, but no, I mean this guy's like a solar powered calculator. Like clouds go by and he's dead. He,
Which all Superman has to do is wait for it to rain.
yeah, and like he's like, "What are you gonna do, bitch?"
Just eats him into like
Basically,
infinity.
Nuclear Man is acting like Bizarro Superman.
Kind of.
He does not speak really. He's supposed to have had lines, but then they realized
They cut down some lines.
They realized the Russian dude cannot speak English at all.
Or he wasn't doing a phenomenal job. Or maybe he just didn't have the right voice. I don't know. Actually, let me see where Mark Pillow's from. You keep doing your thing. Right?
So it was a guy who was from like...
Mark Pillow was from...
I'm going to say like Russia or something.
England.
He's
a British dude.
He's a British guy? No excuse for them not to...
Which is even more hilarious as they filmed...
I guess maybe he just wasn't a very good like actor?
Maybe. He's only ever been in this movie.
But he was good at like the modeling of like the...
I think he was like a model or something.
So like his acting visually actually worked.
Yeah, it's not bad. He does like
he's emoting correctly.
He's a little intimidating. He's in a terrible costume.
Yeah, I mean for the 80s.
Even for the 80s, that's bad.
He looked like the villain of the week on like your favorite wrestling program.
Exactly, not in a Superman movie.
No, because for like an original super villain thing, not terrible for the 80s. But
but he's got like these long Freddy Krueger nails, which is hilarious.
Well, I mean, they were supposed to be more intimidating then.
I feel like if you redesign him today, he'll look better.
Oh yeah, I mean, because they'd have like budget, but like for what they were going for in the 80s, it worked for like the $5 they had to work with.
And some Lycra.
I'm more forgiving on this movie because I'm like I can see that the budget just got pissed down the drain.
Because it's canon and they didn't care.
Not that they didn't care, they probably didn't have the funds.
Well, at that point, no, not by 87. No.
But so back up a little bit. Okay, they steal the hair, they make the clone embryo. They put it. They somehow sneak it onto a U.S. military base with a nuke.
So this is like a running thing with Lex in these movies. He's apparently a master of disguise. In the first Superman, he does this shit too.
Yeah, he can just dress up as
anybody
and walk in and be because you know why? Because it's the 80s. He's a white man in his like 30s, so he's
48.
He's a 48-year-old white man, so he can do whatever he wants. That's just what it was like in the 80s.
In the 70s,
apparently. In the 60s, and you betcha in the 50s.
Which is weird, because, like, in the first Superman, he's such a criminal mastermind, he has to hide underground. You mean to tell me nobody recognizes this dude? Nobody. I understand computers aren't a thing, and phones aren't a thing, and all that, or cell phones aren't. But nobody... he goes to a military base, he's been in prison, federal prison... like 5 times now.
At this point, like they should have like known. Everybody should have known exactly who's supposed to be the guy who's going to be. Or it doesn't. It's
basically what we're getting at is that he would have been shot on sight.
Yeah, he would have been. There was no way he was going to be able to. But whatever. He makes it in. And he tells him, "Hey, shoot that rocket." What? And he just slams the button,
which would immediately have him arrested and or shot on
sight. Yeah. Honestly, because he just caused a nuclear holocaust, or he blew up like fucking Nebraska or some shit.
I mean, yes, Superman's there, but what if he was busy?
Yeah, what if like Superman couldn't get there? You don't know. So Superman,
like a family.
Superman goes, "Oh, we forgot one. Whoops! All right, I got it," and then hurls it into the sun, and then that creates Nuclear Man
magically.
And then Nuclear Man just shows up at Lex's like penthouse, which is the Empire State Building.
Yes. So I have a problem with this movie.
And
the original Superman.
They did nothing to make it not New York.
It's literally New York. You literally see there's a scene, we'll get to it later, where you see a billboard that says New York subs, and it pisses me off.
Yeah. So then Superman's dealing with like Lois Lane and Lucy Warfield, which who gives a flying fuck about any of that.
Yeah, like I mean, we were so bored. I started looking up like facts about the movie during it, and I was just like, "This
Yeah.
is like it's just."
And the weirdest thing is like everything that deals with Superman Clark, with Lois and the Daily Planet and the farm and all that, that's actually to me the most interesting parts of the movie.
Did we mention what he does to Lois?
Oh yeah, see okay. So he's at the penthouse with Lois getting ready for his date with Lucy and her date with Superman.
Yeah, no, it's before that. It's before that.
Um
There was some sort of gala that like Lois and Clark were gonna go to.
yeah, and so like she shows up at his apartment, which we found the apartment to be way too nice for his pay grade, but then we realized, oh, there's like a bunch of like bar signs and it's above a bar and all that. So
was it his apartment in the first movie?
It's in the apartment. So so it's a nice thing, but it's a shitty location, so that's why he's getting cheap. And what does he care? He can literally turn off his brain if he wants. He's Superman. So he's like, hey, step outside and get some fresh air for me. I'm going to show you something. He goes, cool, what is it? And he just pushes her off like
no. He jumps off with her,
Yeah.
and like as they're falling, he swoops down, changes apparently, and flies right back up and catches her. She's like, oh, "You're Clark! Oh my god!" And they fly around, recreating the original Superman, and then she apparently is implied. So at the end of Superman 2, right? Superman 2 is actually a very romantic movie with them.
Yeah, he reveals himself, and then he goes, on second thought, you shouldn't know. And he magically kisses her.
So the magic memory erases. I'm not defending it.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why it happens.
It's a plot armor thing. It's terrible.
So because Lois starts to realize like she can't really have a family with this guy because she has to share him with the world, and she's like, well, that makes me feel like I'm being jealous of the world.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you are Superman, and I love you.
Yeah.
Instead of having any of that nuance and depth and drama, she's like, oh, yeah, no, I've known the whole time. And that magic memory erase kiss shit, that didn't work.
No, it's like, oh, right, you're Superman. I don't know how I forgot that. That's weird. And he's like, oh, right, yeah, time to re-up on that. Magic kiss again.
Boop.
Which great, because who wants to remember, like, hey, my boyfriend just pushed me the fuck off the top of this building. I thought we were going to jump to our deaths.
Nobody sees this happen.
Oh, it's New York. No one gives a shit. Like,
yeah, it's not. We're not calling it Metropolis. It's New York.
Yeah, it's New York.
For whatever reason, they relocated to New York.
And
she stands there with her head up.
Yeah, like she's in a fugue state.
And Clark comes back and he's like, you kind of see this like smirk on his face for a second.
Like, hey, what you doing out there? It's like, oh, right.
Fuck you think you asshole.
It's like, oh, right. You want fresh air, and why am I out here? What? Anyways,
Clark is just like,
I've just lost 40 seconds of my life. That's not disturbing in any way that I can't recall.
He is causing psychological damage.
She's got a brain tumor
woman.
now.
Yeah, he's given her cancer.
She's got a brain tumor now, for sure.
Like, you think Spider-Man, like, giving Mary Jane cancer is bad? Superman was doing it first, and it is terrible what he is doing.
So
this is wrong. I want to talk to a lawyer about this movie.
He goes on a date with Lucy. Well, tries to, and he purposely bumbles that, and it's actually pretty good the way he bumbles
you're talking about
it.
the gym scene?
Yeah.
So the gym scene's hilarious. Is there's always like this 80s aerobics thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Clark's terrible at it. This guy who I guess is a friend of Lacey or Lucy or whatever her name is, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He tries to like impress her and shit like that, and she's like, all right, whatever, you're cool, I guess. And she has to leave. And he's like, hey, Clark, you help me with these weights? Clark grabs it and just yeets it at him.
Yeah, he's like, oh, shoot, what the fuck? It's like,
oops.
Watch those reps, buddy.
Like, all right, there's moments like that where...
Yeah, like...
There's the dry sense of humor that Christopher Reeves had.
Yeah, like, there's moments where, like, yeah, this is a great Superman and, Superman movie in here in parts, in pieces, and like,
for all
moments.
We know... if it was never cut, maybe we would have gotten a better movie.
Like, maybe we would have said, like, this was, like, a really good one. I don't know. Maybe it would have been worse. And then, like, this is, like, just, like, an hour of this movie. And you can feel, like, oh, you can feel that it's cut. Because, like, there's an hour of, like, the original movie that's supposed to be 2 hours, right?
Yeah, I just found a picture of Nuclear Man 1.
Um, oh, it's okay. So he's showing me a picture of, um, y'all ever seen that movie, the Labyrinth with
David Bowie.
David Bowie? That's just David Bowie from the Labyrinth. Okay, and that is a fat guy.
That is Joe Pesci.
It's Joe Pesci.
No.
Okay,
He tricked you though.
What?
All right, so this is from
So the
some
original
movie.
idea of Nuclear Man looks like a cross between Labyrinth and Edward Scissorhands.
So maybe I was misremembering Bizarro. Yeah, so like he attacks I'm finding this information from a wiki. So
He was
first
gonna be
Nuclear
more-
Man.
He was going to be more of a Bizarro type.
Yeah, he this incarnation terrorized Metropolis at night, attacking a nightclub and inflicting casualties, such as frying a woman when she took a liking to him. However, this Nuclear Man was rather weak, and he was easily destroyed by Superman when the Man of Steel kicked the supervillain into a power transformer after a brief duel using cars, garbage cans, and other street objects. After collecting the remains of the deceased first Nuclear Man with the help of his nephew Lenny, Lex decided he needs much more energy, hence the bomb.
Yeah, that's kind of redundant. I'd get rid of it.
But I mean, like, holy hell, how do you...
I mean, if someone like James Gunn was making this movie with this script and he could work with it, you know,
It would
like,
probably be better.
yeah, like if you gave this to like a modern like guy who's passionate and knows what to do, you could probably get a decent film out of like these scripts and these ideas, you know, like because like a lot of this is good. Like most people just go like shits on this movie and says it's the worst thing ever, and like
There's worse movies that we've seen.
Yeah.
Worse, I think, objectively, I think Batman Robin's a worser movie.
Yeah, because this movie seems like there was a better movie in here somewhere, and then between budgets and like
Canon
just things having to get chopped out,
and Chris's attitude and all that.
it was a train wreck of a production. Is what happened here.
Oh, it's absolutely a train wreck of production. Christopher Reeves was famously gone on record saying that it was a catastrophe from beginning to end.
Yeah. So I don't know. He fights
Nuclear Man.
Nuclear Man
fucking
gets
wrecked.
owned, almost dies of, I guess, radiation poisoning. It seems
Nuclear
like
Man scratches him,
like scratches him on the neck, and like that just takes him out of the commission.
and he somehow loses his cape, and everyone thinks he's died. So you remember that plot bit in Spider-Man 2 where Spider-Man throws his costume away and the newspaper has it?
Yeah, and he's got it like pinned to the wall, like
So Jameson's a psychopath.
yeah, that's some psychopath.
Like nobody tells Jonah like
if I saw like
my boss doing that, I'm like
I'd be
I'm
like
quitting.
I'm gonna go work for BuzzFeed or some shit.
Like, bro,
Fuck
you have a
this.
problem.
It's like
Like this is like okay, if you kept it, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But or if you put it on, that's one thing too.
yeah.
But you pinned it to your wall?
Like you stapled it like a psycho. Like
What
it's
is
a
wrong
fucked
with
up
you? What
war
happened to
tri-
you?
Like this is like skinning a man and putting his skin on the wall. What the hell, man?
Like, what happened to you to lead you to this moment
Like,
in your life?
Did Spider-Man fuck your wife? Like Jesus, man. Like, did she make sounds with him that she's never made with you? Like, what is going on, dude?
Is Spider-Man
Did,
the father of your son?
like, did Spider-Man kill your family? Like, Jesus.
What did he do to you? Anyway,
Yeah.
back to the not so interesting movie
So
of Superman 4.
he gets wrecked.
He gets bodied.
He,
Actually, no, he gets bodied literally later.
like he's literally like in his apartment, dying from like I don't know, the flu.
I guess I have no idea what's going on.
It's like he has the flu. I guess he's literally dying of radiation poisoning because like it just cuts to him at like it literally just cuts.
Lois visits him and she's like, "Oh, I think he needs help." Meaning Superman, which because
He's like,
Lois
"Oh,
saw
yeah."
the cape in Lacey's office, and Lacey, mind you, had just walked into work
Yeah.
and is like being told by her father, "You're now the publisher."
Okay.
Okay. I have like no journalism experience.
Also,
Dad.
hey, look, we bought his cape from some guy for like nothing. It's like that's
And
what?
she's like, "What is happening
Like,
today?"
oh, wait, okay, that's confused. You bought it for cheap, and we have it, and what?
And
then
Lois walks in and is like,
it's like,
"You bitch!"
It's like, you bitch. Why do you fucking have this? What?
She's like, "Wait.
Wait. Well, I'm sorry. I just got here. I don't even know what the.
I don't even know what's happening today, Lois." Like,
And she went from like being totally okay with like tabloid headlines to like now she's like, we need ethics in journalism.
oh, we're forgetting Clark's bullshit with her and Lois.
Oh yeah, he looks at both of them in the eyes, and then they're like, we'll be better humans now.
No, the shit with the apartment you were talking about.
Oh,
where
yeah.
he makes a doorbell.
Oh
ring.
yeah, he does the whole double date shenanigans.
Yeah,
with
where it's
Superman
like he's
stuff.
1 minute. There's actually a better version of this done in the 1966 Batman show where Batman's on the phone with Commissioner Gordon, and I forget with who else. And he switches his voice from Bruce Wayne to Batman.
Yeah, but I mean, in Reed's defense, this is actually really well done, and it's pretty slapsticky.
Yeah, he does a good job.
This is actually not a bad scene at all. Except for, he's Superman standing there at one point, and he stares at the wall and makes the doorbell ring.
Which just made us question how the fuck does he do that?
I'm gonna assume that it was implied that he moves so fast that he hits
Fuck
the bell.
you. No, don't give that. No,
Yeah.
don't give this movie that.
Well,
Then again, we did see him rebuild the Great Wall of China by looking at it.
yeah.
Nuclear Man at one point terrorizes the world by destroying the Great Wall of China.
Yep.
And Superman just shoots a blue laser beam out of his eye and
rebuilds it.
And just rebuilds it.
And at that point, I think you walked out of the room, and I contemplated if reality even exists.
I had to get up and walk away because
Yeah,
I knew it was coming.
I'm sorry, he rebuilds it with his eyes, Brian.
I am aware of this.
What is this movie?
Cheap. That's what this movie is.
Fuck,
cheap.
Cocaine.
Don't put a sequence like that in your movie if you can't afford it.
The budget must have been blown on coke.
It was given to Chris and Gene.
Yeah, that's got to be.
And then coke.
Yeah.
For both of them.
Yeah. It was you gave all the money to the two leads, and then the rest of it was spent on coke and hookers, for the producers. Jesus. He's almost dead. Everyone does like a 180 in personality, and then all of a sudden they're more ethical, and it's weird.
Superman's not here. Our hope and inspiration is gone.
Yeah, everyone's like bummed out for 5 seconds, which
he's gone for like a day.
It seems like he got his ass kicked, and then like he's gone for like 5 minutes, and everyone's like, he's dead. It's like, has it been a month, a week?
We have no idea how long
hour?
the story's been taking.
It just jump cuts to questionable a time later, and then it jumps cuts from this apartment where he's like sick to he's just in the barn in Smallville at his home.
Yeah, he found a green crystal earlier, which apparently has like the last essence of Krypton or something like that.
Yeah,
whatever. Fine.
And he's like holding it,
and he's just like, "Cool, I'm dope. Cash money."
No, he's just holding it, and it looks like he's like his hair's falling out. He's clearly dying of like radiation poisoning or something.
Yeah.
And he's just holding it, and it jump cuts again, and he's like immediately fighting Nuclear Man, because Nuclear Man is chilling with Lex, and he looks at a paper and he sees like Lacey on the newspaper, and he goes, "I'm horny. I'm gonna go have sex with this woman now."
So Nuclear Man then goes on like a rampage. He doesn't
say this. He just looks at the newspaper
and dips
and goes,
"Bye, Lex.
I guess I'm gonna have sex with this woman or whatever."
And Lex is like, "The fuck? Where are you going?"
And we're like, "What's happening?" And now he's at like the Daily Planet. We're like, "What's happening?"
No. You missed the beginning. You missed the segment. Lex is meeting with like world leaders and like villainy or something. He like fires him. He's like, "You guys realize I have a fucking weapon to kill Superman."
Yeah, he's got like $1 billion just sitting on a table for some reason.
Yeah, it's like
Scenes are missing.
There are. I want an explanation as to who these people
Like,
were.
I don't know if we were talking over it, but
might have
scenes
been.
are just missing.
Because I was having trouble like focusing on this movie. So I was trying. I'm like you said, like some of the scenes are genuinely good. Like Superman at the UN. That's a great.
But like the
image.
last 30 minutes of this, it's like
insane.
It's like a dirty disc where it's just skipping scenes.
So Nuclear Man goes to
The
New York,
Daily Planet
in New York City.
Yeah.
New York, not Metropolis.
Okay.
I'm done. You know, like so he starts throwing cars around. And Superman's like, "Stop! You're being mean. Stop!"
And it's like, "Hey, dude, cut it out. Chill."
You have
and he just looks at him and he goes, "Oh, you're horny and you want to fuck a woman? All right, let me take you to her. Fine, whatever."
We're not done yet.
Yeah.
We're not done yet. Nuclear Man, because you forgot to mention, Superman has the Force.
Oh yeah, so like Nuclear Man can just like make people spin with like his fingers or whatever.
The Force.
Like, yeah, he uses the Force to like spin them in a circle and stuff. And then Superman has the ability to undo that with his eyes.
It's literally like it's like two little kids
with like psychic powers.
Not even that. It's like, well, my guy can do this. No, my guy can reverse what your guy can do.
Yeah.
Well, fuck you. I'm going home.
Yeah, this is the antithesis of Superman being the kid that goes, "I have all the powers."
Yes, this is literally that, and that's how you write Superman wrong.
Yeah, it's like my superpower is I have all the powers. It's like, fuck you. I don't want to play with you.
Yeah, why would I want to play with you? It's lame.
It's like I punch you. I have the anti-damage shield. You can't hurt me.
Well, fine. I roll 20. I roll 19, and then I roll. No, what was it? He rolled. I roll 20 and 19. I throw a fucking dart in your eye, right into your fucking brain.
Yeah, can't hurt me. I'm invulnerable.
Oh, you never saw the Dungeons and Dragons thing with Red Letter Media, did you?
No.
I'll tell you later.
I'll show you a minute. So
Superman's like, "Fine, you want her so bad? I'll show you." And he like runs away into.
He gets to do it in the elevator. I'm like, why are we? Like, Nuclear Man's like looking at him like, "Bro, why you?
You can fly.
We can fly." And he just shoots himself up through like the floor, the ceiling floors, just basically causing permanent structural damage to. Like,
and we're pretty sure he killed people.
Oh yeah, he killed people on the way up. He didn't give a fuck.
The Superman's really shitty at his job in this movie.
Superman goes, "Hey,
they reuse a set from Lex's office.
She's in here in this elevator." And he, dumbass Nuclear Man, just gets in there and then he immediately dies.
Yeah, because anytime
he's away from sunlight, he just drops dead.
Yeah. So Superman's like,
"Oh yeah, that's how you stop him. He needs the sun. He's like a solar panel."
Okay, flies him into the moon.
And thinks, "I'm done. I don't even need to bury this." And then the sun moves onto the moon, obviously.
Superman's a dum-dum.
And like it goes through the crack in the elevator because it's not like a permanent sealed vault. It's an elevator.
Just go to aisle 12 of Home Depot and get a door seal.
Shut the fuck up. Stop giving away trade secrets. You tell where everything is, they won't need you there anymore.
It's funny. I never said which department I'm in.
You don't work at Home Depot. You just go there a lot.
Yes, I go there a lot like Hank Hill. It's my Toys R Us, okay?
Yeah, I know. Oh god, perks of being 30.
Yeah. I miss Toys R Us though. I miss KB Toys.
Oh god, yeah, that was the best. Anyways, so he's not done fighting him.
Superman,
Nuclear Man shows up at like
the Daily Planet.
No, he shows up at like where like the flag is on the moon.
Oh yeah.
Barry just hammers Superman in there like a nail.
Yeah, because they beat the shit out of or he beats the shit out of Superman again. He bitch slaps him and then buries him into the ground like a nail, which is bizarre.
Then kicks dirt on him.
Like
there. You're supposed to bury a motherfucker like that, asshole.
Asshole.
And
he flies away and captures Lacey, who should be dead when they fly into the atmosphere.
Yeah, he's just flying her back. He's like, "We live on the moon now." I was like, "What? Huh?" Like, he doesn't say a word. He does not say a word.
He does not say a word.
He just goes.
He doesn't even do that.
He doesn't say anything. He's completely silent. You have no idea what the fuck.
Michael Myers has more emotion than Nuclear
Yeah.
Man in
Yeah,
this.
Nuclear Man is just doing things because he wants things.
No, it's called Gene Hackman can only record so many lines.
They ran out of
They ran out of money.
yeah, I get obviously. So Superman gets out of the dirt. He's like, all right, he's like looking at his watch and he's like, you know what? We got like 10 minutes left. I better kick your ass miraculously.
Like, because I've been kind of holding back this entire movie.
Moves the moon in front of the sun, which I'm
Should
gonna
destroy the world.
which should cause such a gravitational rift. It should. I mean, you screamed it best, like, "Bye, Japan!" Just like
At least Japan's gone.
yeah,
Like,
the tidal waves killing Japan,
the
Florida,
lovely country of Japan, the great state of Florida.
Like, we're looking at beachfront property right now where we're living outside of our house. That's how much like the Earth
near the Midwest.
like that's how much the Earth is completely fucked with like the tidal waves. Like Ohio is beachfront property.
Ohio is Atlantis.
Yeah. So he immediately goes into sleep mode, Nuclear Man. Superman just drags Lacey back to Earth, comes back up and like, all right, time to beat your ass. Takes Nuclear Man down to some random nuclear power plant and just drops his ass into like a nuclear tube of some sort.
I don't know. It's some sort of like tube or radiation or something.
Yeah, radiation
it's like
tank.
it's like your thing with Star Wars.
Yeah.
There's no OSHA regulations.
Yeah, it's just an open thing and it shouldn't be open at all. But it is, and then like instead of like that,
and because the world now lives in complete darkness, instead of that just blowing up the nuclear facility,
it
Nuclear Man
gives
powers the
everyone
world.
like free power.
Free cable from Nuclear Man.
Yeah, I guess because it just like and all the like the guys at like the plant are like, what? Why the fuck are we at like 2,000% capacity for the month? What the fuck just happened?
I don't understand. Was Superman just here?
So I guess the moral of the story is nuclear bombs bad, nuclear power plants good because it was the 80s. Which okay,
and then Superman.
That's a based opinion in my book.
So
and then Superman just shows up at
the UN
and goes, "Hey, listen,
I'm gonna be hella chill.
You guys go back on being on the fringe of war. I guess I can't stop you guys, even though I totally could, but I'm not gonna." And then he drags. So now,
Perry White uses some back.
No, we're not done yet. No, okay, hold on. Yeah, so Perry White is like, hey, by the way, I got the bank to loan me money so I could stop your hostile takeover because we realized it's very unethical the way you bought the paper. So
I'm pretty sure it's illegal.
Yeah, so we're undoing that, and I now own it. Get your ass out of my newspaper. And Warfield is like, what? Huh?
What just happened?
I just lost the paper? Like, yeah, get the fuck out. Goes, okay, and dips. Bye. And then Lex Luthor and Lenny are in like an old 1920s jalopy.
With Lenny's like
boombox
drum set.
Like he's got like a one of those big fashioned like record player like
I hate this movie because
furniture like, things duct taped to like the back.
Yeah.
And they're driving out of town.
And Lex has an aviator cap on.
Because there's no top and it's an old timey car, I guess.
I guess because he's supposed to be
bald. Yeah, he doesn't want the wig to fly away. I don't know. Anyways, they're driving away, and then Superman just picks up the car, and John Cryer gives the best no fucks given like line.
Yeah, oh like, no, Uncle Lex!
It's hey, look, it's like he knows like. Of course, this wasn't gonna work. Hey, yeah.
What's up, Superman? How you doing?
Basically, he's like,
well, took your ass on. Oh shit, we were almost interstate, man.
Like, oh hey, Lex, it's it's obviously Superman.
What do you think is happening right now, asshole?
So Lenny gets like picked up, and you're like, all right, I guess Superman's gonna kill me or whatever.
Or
Whatever.
do
He
something. God knows
drops
what.
him off at like a boys' school, and he's like, "What? Huh?" And then
He's like, dude, I'm 40.
and like a priest walks out and is like, "Can I help you, Superman?" He's like, "Can you put this boy in the straight, narrow path?" And
Oh, I'm sure he will.
and the priest is like, "Yeah, all right." And like,
He kind of looks at Lenny like, the hell just happened?
John Cryer's like looking at Superman like, "Are you giving me a second chance? You're not gonna break my neck?" No, all right. I guess I'll just
Hang out here?
hang out here. Better than prison.
But like it's funny because like the priest has this look on his face for a minute,
Like you're like 22, right?
like,
You're
why,
like
why are you here?
like
dude?
you're a grown
Here,
adult.
I'll give you like $50. You take a taxi home.
He's like you're a grown man, right? He's like, no, I guess I'm like 15.
Even still, you're kind of too old to be here.
Yeah, this is a boys.
I'm gonna make a
school.
couple of phone calls.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to wait here or not.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go this way.
I'm gonna call some, and then he takes Lex back to like the quarry,
Yeah, the same spot. And
and they're like, hey, look, it's Mozart. He's back, because of course
Lex was saying Mozart
He's
when
like-
he broke out.
it's like, of course Superman's gonna catch your dumb ass and bring you back here.
It's been like 2 days.
He's all like, harumph. And then he gives a speech to the UN, and he's like, yeah, just don't
I
start.
rule the world.
Like, listen, don't start a nuclear war, but go back to like beating each other's asses. I don't give a fuck. I'm tired. I'm gonna go fuck my wife. All right, movie's over. Bye. And it just ends.
Yeah.
It's just like you can literally like. It just feels like, hey, we gotta end this movie because
We're out of money.
I don't think we can afford
Chris.
any more reels. So this
And we
has got to
can't
be
afford
like,
Chris anymore.
yeah. So this has got to be like an hour and a half movie. But it's supposed to be a 2.5 hour. Yeah, cut it. Just cut it down. Man.
What can we cut out? Well, get rid of that Joe Pesci nuclear man looking
Oh
thing.
yeah. So that was the plot.
How do you feel about it?
So all right.
Well, I guess we said how we feel.
Let's actually talk about this. This is a bad movie.
It's notoriously bad.
Because it is a hack
They have
job.
the same effect of Superman flying towards the camera.
The effects of this movie are absolutely fucking abysmal for the 80s, especially considering like Ghostbusters came out in what, 83, and that's
84.
84, and this came out when
87.
yeah, and Ghostbusters still holds up today.
Batman would just come out 2 years later.
Yeah,
and
and
that
that's-
had like amazing effects.
Yeah, like there are movies that came out in like Aliens looked amazing.
The
Still.
Empire Strikes Back in
Yeah,
1980.
Like these are like shitty effects from the 60s. This is cheap. Like most of the time you can tell it's green screened and rotoscoped in because there's still the green or blue halo around them.
Now, mind you, we watched this on HBO Max, so we presume this is a rip off of a Blu-ray.
Yeah, we presume that this is a digital distribution's like legal Blu-ray rip or whatever, however they do it. A lot of times it is just a straight DVD port because that's the only way that they can do it.
Yeah. Regardless, we can see it clear as day, and it makes us wonder what this movie bombed.
Yeah, it seems like the effects were not finished properly.
Knowing canon, they probably were never going to be finished.
I mean, we're looking at this through like 2023 eyes, where we're used to like state of the art CGI like amusement park rides that is Marvel and DC now. But like for the standards of the 80s, this was not good. Like Monty Python did better effects for like cheaper. A lot of the movies that Canon produced that were made by some guy in the woods were better done.
You and I can make a movie we could recreate this movie.
We could probably do the effects as good or better for like almost no money.
Yeah.
We could like literally like I'm going to say this, for about $3,000.
Which you and I can get together pretty quickly.
You could probably do these like do these scenes, at least the effects of like flight and all that, for about $3,000.
You could just grab like a miniature, as that's what they did in the 50s show.
Yeah. Just because like I mean, the technology now, like you could make this movie better. Like if you took the master footage of this and
Yeah.
redid it, yeah, you could make this look 10 times better.
But then no one cares about
Yeah.
Superman 4.
Yeah,
So,
no.
like, there's, or if you, like, okay, if for whatever reason you grew up on this movie, this is like the only copy of the movie you had, or the only Superman movie you ever saw, and you like it, more power to you.
So the thing is I will say this, okay? If you cut out all the Nuclear Man shit, okay,
and replace it with something else.
if you just keep towing that line of like the Superman thing where he's got to like do Superman stuff on the side, like save like a burning building and stuff like that.
What about Lenny? Cut Lenny out?
No, you can even keep fucking Lenny's funny. It's something to entertain the kids in the audience. It's fine. Like let's say like instead of having Nuclear Man, Lex gets a hold of all the nuclear weapons.
That would be cool
and
scary.
And he throws one into the Italian volcano and sets that off. And he launches one randomly
because he's finally just gone mad.
Yeah, he's gone mad or something. So like every now and then,
he's in an undisclosed location. He's gone completely insane.
Yeah, and so like Superman's got to constantly just keep going and stopping these things,
which would probably maybe exhaust him. Or something? Yeah, I don't know. Or they're laced with kryptonite. I don't know.
Yeah, like basically, if you kept this film, like its strongest points is that first hour when it's just straight up like focusing on Superman trying to live the double life of Superman and Clark,
and focus on that. Which I mean, I don't feel like a lot of movies in general do this. Like the first Superman does, and it does a pretty good job. Yeah. Second Superman does a pretty good job too.
I think that's why a lot of people prefer the comics and the TV shows.
Like Superman and Lois,
it gives it
phenomenal work of that.
It's because the most boring part about Superman is when he's Superman. It's him struggling between Superman and being Clark. That's like when it's the most. That's why people like Smallville. It's because it's interesting. Now, not to say that Superman isn't an interesting thing, like when he's beating the crap out of like Doomsday or whatever,
or
like
Zod or something like that.
It's great. Especially when it's not like 9/11 times million.
That's really my only problem with Man of Steel.
Yeah, they really
like you guys need to take this back a few.
Yeah,
like by a few I mean like a lot, and maybe not make out. In
you're at a 12, and I need you at a solid 7.
I'm thinking like a 6.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Zod, I get it. Zod's like an evil Superman. I totally get it.
Yeah, he should be destroying this town, not every town.
No, have him be a world threat, but handle it differently.
Yeah, like don't make it 9/11.
But that's a different discussion for a different day.
But so the first hour of this is a nothing burger, but because it's edited to be a nothing burger, you don't get
anything.
You don't get room.
It kind of moves where like I kind of told you like when we were watching it, I felt like the pacing was just bizarre. I couldn't breathe.
The pacing. There's no breathing room. There's
like 1 minute this is happening, 1 minute because it's made for children.
Yeah,
children have attention span of a squirrel.
So it's like there's no breathing room. There's no space to digest what's going, and like everything is explained and moved away from quickly. So you don't feel like you're absorbing like okay, Superman in this movie is dealing with foreclosure of his family home. Okay.
Which he wants it to go to like not like a property developer. He wants it to be like something that matters.
That's completely abandoned. Like
they never bring that up.
Yeah, that's just like there and it's abandoned. He's got this crystal thing. What the fuck does he even do with this crystal thing?
It gives him magic.
I don't even know what he does with it.
He's got Lacey, which kind of, I guess, works itself out. He's got Lois, who's like an idiot in this movie.
Yeah, like Lois has no like she's like
she has no agency like she does in like how she normally does.
She's not really has a lot of agency. She's just sort of there.
She's to be Superman's cheerleader.
Yeah.
Which is the worst way.
The Lacey Lois thing doesn't go anywhere. So the problem is that you have the most interesting parts of the Superman Clark dynamic thing. All of it's rushed through over this hour. None of it's goes anywhere. No characters are giving the time on screen to develop. But what you do see is good. It's just not being utilized at all.
Right, and
It's like
like Chris is doing a great job as he
yeah.
always
Yeah,
does.
and like everyone's actually doing a really good performance for what they're doing. I mean, John Cryer knows what's
He
up.
knows
So
exactly
he's
what's
like,
happening
it's
here.
like he's just supposed to be like, again, he's like a like Bulk and Skull in Power Rangers of a
Yeah,
performance.
before that even was a thing.
Yeah, because he's like, well, what the fuck is my character? I'm just
Lex Luthor's nephew. Okay, but like, who is he?
yeah, like what?
Is there's nobody in the comics that is he can model off of or anything like that, or
Yeah,
he's just some. He's literally because he was in Pretty in Pink.
like
That's
honestly,
literally it. It's a stunt cast.
you could literally CGI in Lenny from The Simpsons into John Cryer's thing, and it would change
Nothing
nothing.
at all. You could. You know what I would love to see though? Lenny and Lenny Luthor, in, like the new DC universe.
Honestly, yeah, it wouldn't even be high. He's just some annoying side character, whatever, fine.
Who like Lex maybe like kills or something to show he's evil.
Or like is just there, and he's like a Superman stan.
Oh, that
like,
would be actually kind of a
and
cool
like-
dynamic to piss off Lex.
Yeah, and it pisses off Lex because like
Who
you
like
should be.
yeets him out of a window.
You know, I can't wait until like we get to the point where like they just say screw it and they make like Lex Luthor like the billionaire villains in these things. Just I guess they already did it. Never mind. Like when is like Elon Musk type dumbass is gonna be like the villain? And I'm like, oh right,
Smallville.
Hammer.
Yeah, Justin Hammer.
Justin
But
Hammer is
Smallville was doing it too.
No, that was more of like a Bezos evil.
Yeah, it's true.
Um,
Now my take on Superman
yeah.
4. As a comic fan, I'm indifferent. I'm like, I don't really give a shit about.
It feels cartoony like a Silver Age.
It's definitely a Silver Age story
Mm-hmm.
that is lost.
Yeah, it feels like there was supposed to be something actually good here, and it just got like a chainsaw to like the
Leatherface in Part 2 chainsaw
was like the editor.
yeah.
I'm sure this movie was supposed to be better, and then like the editing team got a hold of like the parts and went, "What? Where the fuck do I even begin?" And it's like, well,
Too bad.
yeah. alright.
Like as someone who is becoming more of a Superman fan as I get older, and I can really identify with the character and like him a lot.
Yeah, you got to be like a 30-year-old to really appreciate like his.
As a kid, I didn't like Superman. I thought Superman was lame. He was boring. Whatever. As a teenager, I was like, Batman's cool, man. And I started liking Spider-Man. But anyway,
Yeah.
but Superman, I really, really like. What are you looking at?
Yeah.
Superman. Like I said, I never saw this movie because I always heard it was bad, so I avoided it. Now that I've seen it, I want the hour and 30 of my life back.
No, that's gone forever.
Yeah. And I'm some dumbass who's seen Batman Robin and went, it's not that bad. Yeah, no, it's bad.
Yeah.
I still think Batman Robin's a worser movie than this.
Eventually, I think we're not gonna do this in complete disorder. We're probably gonna do this one.
We'll probably revisit this when we watch the Superman films.
Yeah, like we're just doing this, and then we're probably gonna go through 1 through 4 again.
Yeah.
Just
and maybe
'cause-
talk about Returns and all that.
Yeah. Returns is actually something that I watched all of this. I couldn't make it through like the intro of Returns when he takes the wig off. Because I'm like, this is stupid. I'm done. Because like, my first
You were like that scene from Family Guy where Peter, I forget what movie he's watching. He's in the theater.
claps done.
And he's just like, he gets up and it's a full theater and he just like leaves.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite cuts.
Done.
He's like, done. Gets up, walks away. Like he just closes the door. He's just done.
Yeah, I respect that.
Peter's got some nerve. Peter knows what he wants, man. Yeah. But like, does this deserve to be like destroyed or hated? I don't think so.
I can comfortably understand why people do not like it.
Excuse me.
I can comfortably understand why people do not like this movie. I can understand why it's hated. Why it's like dunked on by every other YouTuber,
Everybody in the
every other
world.
podcaster, everybody. It's because it's like this represents canon at its best of like it's schlock.
Yeah.
It's low grade schlock.
Which is so bizarre because it's Superman.
Yeah.
You know? Like, that's what makes it weirder.
Like, honestly, I think it's people are like bored by the first hour, and then they remember the last half of it, which is just
insanity.
It's just insanity. It's cut up.
And I have a bone to pick with this movie.
Yeah.
Real quick though. It takes place in New York.
Okay, so yeah, all right. So this is supposed to be Metropolis, even though they don't really say Metropolis all that much.
No, they do. They say Metropolis.
But all the shots are like stock footage, helicopter shots.
Like you see the Empire State Building, you see the World Trade Center. But what really sets it in?
Okay, so at one point there is a scene where they.
Let me do this.
Okay, fine.
Let me do this.
Calmly.
Lex has this like high frequency device that he used in the original Superman, which is actually kind of a cool callback to contact Superman.
Yeah,
it's the only device Superman can hear, or frequency Superman can hear. So Superman, he's kind of looking around where the source is coming from. It's coming from the Jumbotron in Times Square.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to pull up a picture of this.
Yep.
Okay, so Steve, in a note, he's going to put a picture. I'm going to show him where.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a billboard that says New York subs.
Yeah, right next to it because it's just stock footage
and
from
I
like.
Sat there in complete disbelief.
Well, what are they going to do? They're going to CGI that out with what money?
I know. Then don't do it.
Yeah, just
put Lex on a TV or something.
Yeah, honestly. So, thing
it's
is,
the same scene.
They were using
it's the same thing.
So the thing is that Canon didn't make any of this city footage. It's just
no.
People have been using this helicopter footage from the 70s for years.
Pretty sure the Spider-Man show from like the 70s used
it. Oh
too.
yeah, like people are still using it. They're just using like the high ultra. I mean, there's 4K footage of like New York from the 80s. Like it's insane. Like how just high quality of just B-roll there is out there of New York.
Yeah.
From like the last 40 decades. Yeah, I mean, this, again, we should really start doing these a bit more structured, but we couldn't with this one because
we couldn't. Like, I think we sat there for a few minutes and tried to figure out how the hell to tackle this.
I couldn't even like remember the plot. It was just like leaving my brain as soon as like the credits.
As soon as Superman smiles at the camera, I'm like, I forgot what he magic memory erased.
Yeah,
like what the hell did I just watch?
Like I forget like the plot of this. Like what did he do for like an hour and a half?
He just literally dicks around like the city and does nothing.
He dicks around for an hour and then he fights this like wrestler from space. And then the movie's over. Like that's the plot.
He's a wrestler from space.
I mean, he's just this glowing wrestler guy.
Yeah, basically Hollywood Hulk Hogan comes out of like space to fight Superman, which is actually a more interesting plot.
I mean, that's basically what we got. I mean,
Hulk Hogan versus Superman, like Space Hulk Hogan.
I'm
or whatever.
sure there's a comic from like the 90s.
No, there isn't.
I'm sure. I'm sure there's like a WWE commission thing where Hulk fights
Superman. Yeah. Well, Mike Tyson fought Superman.
Yeah, and a charity thing, right?
It was like a charity. Or no, not Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali.
Didn't like Superman just murder him then?
No. The Superman did something to depower himself, so it's a fair fight.
Oh.
Okay, that's cool. But my final thoughts are I don't hate it. I'm never gonna watch it again.
No, well, I mean, we're probably going to, but
well, yeah, I mean, like we're going to.
But I mean, there's worse canon films.
Oh, there's way worse canon
which
films.
we'll probably find at some point.
Yeah.
But that said, like
this killed canon.
This killed Superman franchises for a while.
Someone's killed the superhero franchise in general because Batman started to be put in jeopardy a little bit.
But overall, like, you can still glean like 40 solid minutes of like good Superman.
Yeah, like if you use this as like a highlight reel of like some of Christopher Reeves not his best acting in this. No,
he's like actively angry.
Because he's clearly pissed at the whole
thing.
Like
you can see like anger in his eyes every scene. Like he is pissed off.
I still think the best of these 4 Superman movies is the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2.
Yeah. Yeah. 1 and 2 are arguably really good.
Like if you watch 1 and 2 side by side, like not side by side, but back to back, you have a very solid Superman story.
Yeah. And then 3 and 4 aren't great, and then Superman Returns isn't that great, and then Man of Steel is aging not so great, but it is not that bad.
It's really not that bad. It doesn't
Except-
deserve the hate.
Yes, it does, because like the next Superman reboot should have a scene where Superman,
Have him get cabinetry. Why not?
like Superman is like sees some stuff, and then he looks at to the Pa Kent, and Pa is like, maybe you shouldn't help them. Maybe you should keep yourself hidden.
Yes.
And then they just laugh for like 10 whole fucking minutes, and then he
Paul's
goes,
like, "What are you
"Save
looking
the
at me
day."
for? Go."
Yeah, you know.
'Cause that's what Jonathan Kent would say. He's like, "The hell are you looking at me for? Wait, go,
Yeah.
get
So
out
I
of
mean,
here."
like, to be fair to Zack Snyder though, with that whole thing, that was based off of a run where there was a what if that came out at some point where Superman did reveal himself early as a child. He
You think about Flashpoint?
I think it was like a Flashpoint thing where like he saves a bus full of kids or something, and then the government takes him away, and like it's a really fucked up like boys prison thing.
I think it's like I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's not Flashpoint, but I know what you're talking about.
And
I
then-
mean, like you can do.
But at the end of the day, it'd be like no, because it'd be like, okay, listen, go with the government, and then if they try something, break the fuck out and come home.
Yeah, we will deal with that then. 'Cause they don't know who you are.
Yeah,
As far as they know, they had a little kid who had blue eyes and black hair. It's like nah, it's like
it's like we can get you $5 blonde hair dye.
for like a week.
Yeah.
And no one will know.
Yeah,
And then when I ask, you're just going through a phase.
yeah.
Final thoughts are I give it like a solid 2 out of 5. It's not the worst thing I've seen.
Yeah, it's like a 2.5 out of 5.
I feel like at its heart, it is trying.
Yeah.
But it's a heart of a dying person.
Yeah, it's like it's something that it feels like someone was making a really good painting, and then I knocked over this can of paint and smashed it, and now it's a Jackson Pollock reject.
Now there's some bleach too. Let me throw that in.
And now I have to hang it up in the art gallery because there's no more time to work on it. Yeah, it's not the worst, and it actually does do some pretty good things, except Superman keeps pulling powers out of his ass, and
It's a Great Wall of China vision.
it's a great camp movie. Like it's camp. It's you put this on like during the rainy night at camp one summer.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
and not even that. Like just watch the original. If you really want like a good, the original is
just
pretty
watch-
cheesy enough.
Honestly,
as it is.
watch the first two, and
Give 3 a look. I'm probably gonna do that after we're done here because I'm
Yeah.
very curious about 3. Because I know the mom from Smallville is
Mhm.
actually the love interest in 3.
yeah. So fun fact, I accidentally guessed the plot to 3, because I was explaining the actual true events behind global warming. So a lot of the reason why like Russia propaganda is so pro global warming and like trying to convince you it's a hoax.
Oh yeah, that is the
It's-
plot of Superman.
is
3.
because if they can defrost like frozen parts of Russia, they can get to the minerals there and all that and make money. And someone's like, okay, Superman 3. And I went, what? It's like, that's the plot to Superman 3. I'm like, are you serious? It's like, yeah. I'm like, that's stupid, but it's true.
It's Superman 3.
Yeah, they're trying to have global warming warm up those areas so they can make more money.
That's insanity.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's it, folks.
Yep. All right. So that was that. I don't know what our next movie is going to be, but
I have no idea. I'm gonna try to find. I'm gonna find something that is obscure.
Mhm.
Might be Pierre Kirby.
Oh, we're going international.
We're going to internet if we can pull it off because we have a very barbaric setup. Because there's none of those movies that are on DVD. I doubt.
No, but I can probably find us some good stuff to react to.
I don't want to watch a good movie. I want to watch a bad movie.
You don't want to watch Perfect Blue or Paprika with me, man? Get
hell are
weird with
those?
it?
The hell are those?
Oh, there's some trippy animes, man.
Nah, it's easy for you. I want a bad movie.
Oh, you want a bad movie, not a good thriller. All
Yeah,
right,
I want
no.
something bad.
You want to eat out of the trash. All
I
right.
feel like being a whore today.
All right, we're gonna find you a nice trash dumpster, my little raccoon friend.
Phantasm 4.
No, I said dumpster, not dumpster fire.
Phantasm 2.
Okay, there you go. That's more like it. All right, see you later, everybody.
Bye.